What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name's Nicole and I'm an addict. My sobriety date is July 13th, 2015, and I currently am utilizing medically assisted treatment. I am currently on 6 milligrams and have tapered down from 12 milligrams to 6. And I go back to the doctor on November 14th to go down 2 more milligrams, and I will update you guys on November 14th and let you know how that goes. So, let me get the Real Talk Recovery phone line up here for you guys. So, I don't know if you can see that. There you go. Hey, Cindy, what's up, girl? Love you. There's the Real Talk Recovery phone line. If you guys are struggling with anything and you just need to chat, you can always get a hold of me at 501-991-5149. If you don't feel like talking, you can always text message me. I got a text message today from a longtime subscriber, and it just made my day hearing from him. So if you guys want to get a hold of me and just text, feel free. Go right ahead. Like I said, I love hearing from you guys. And it just cheers me up. And I love hearing you guys' success stories. So, there we go. Real Talk Recovery. Okay. Can you see that? There we go. All right, guys. So, tonight we're going to do... Let me get myself together here. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. Tonight we're going to do... First and foremost, I want to talk to you guys and tell y'all, so there is a group on Facebook. It's called Mara International, okay? I want you guys to go and join this group, MARA International. So, Mara International is Medically Assisted Recovery Anonymous. It's a 12-step program that is all-inclusive for people like us who are using maintenance as a part of our treatment and recovery. I messaged Jeff on Mara, and I was asking him about if there was going to be a book, like a step guide and a tradition guide made for Mara. And he said that they are editing it now. Hey, Megan, they're working on creating it and editing it now. So as soon as they get that printed up, we're going to start learning from that book, you guys. Hey, Kim. And I'm so excited. Like, this is huge, you guys. I always wanted to create a meeting, a fellowship for Medically Assisted Recovery Anonymous. And Jeff and the people of Mara did that. And I'm so excited to be a part of this fellowship. And I'm excited to see how it grows and spreads all over the United States, you know. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Krissy. Hey, Megan. Hey, Hearts. Hey, everyone. I'm hella pumped, you guys. Like, I'm so freaking excited because I feel like, for those of us that are on maintenance, I never felt like I had a place. Like, I knew I could go to AA, and I worked the 12 steps of AA, and I love the 12 steps. But I just didn't quite feel like I fit in. Do you know what I'm saying? And in Mara, I feel like I fit. I feel like those are my people. They know exactly what I'm going through. They've been where I've been. There's no, judgment at all. At all. That's the best feeling in the world, is to go somewhere where you fit. I just feel like Mara is my home. That's where I'm supposed to be. I don't know why I'm crying. I'm just so excited about it. And I want to do anything I can to help them with that program, because it's amazing. And you can go on marainternational.org, you guys, and you can look by your state and find out if they have meetings in your area. And you know what? If they don't have a meeting in your area, you can create a meeting in your area. You can message Jeff at marainternational.org, and you can request to make your own meeting. and he can help you do that and start a meeting in your town. So I'm telling you guys, that's exactly what I did. I went on to the Mara International website and I requested to have this meeting that we do on Fridays to be a recognized meeting, so that way people could find my channel that need support, that don't have a meeting in their state. You know what I'm saying? And so I was persistent, and I contacted them, and I did everything they asked me to do, and I'm willing to do anything else they asked me to do to help spread this message. All-inclusive recovery, medication can be used as a form of treatment, and that recovery is simply recovering from an unhealthy lifestyle. So I'm super excited about it. So tonight we're gonna discuss steps 2 and tradition 2 in the 12 steps and 12 traditions here. We already did it in our big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, so we're going to talk about it out of the 12 and 12. And like I said, as soon as I get the Mara traditions and step book, we're going to start doing that, okay? But for right now, since we have these books, we're going to learn out of this book, okay? So that way we're not falling behind. We're constantly learning something, This is the 12 steps and 12 traditions. It's just the 12 steps and 12 traditions. There's no it's not like the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous where there's different editions. You know what I'm saying? So it says copyrighted 1952, 53, 81. All rights reserved. Okay. Here we go, you guys. Welcome to the channel, everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful Monday today. I had a great day. Like I told you guys, I have avoided drama at all costs. I have uplifted the people in my life. I have reached out to people that I hadn't been getting along with and making amends with those people. And I'm moving forward, and it feels so good, you guys. I'm telling you, it feels so good. All right, let's do this. Y'all ready? Step 2. Does anybody know what step 2 is? Does anybody know what step 2 is? I'll give you a hint. Came to believe. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So let's stop right there and let's dissect this sentence, okay? So came to believe. Okay, so a lot of people right there, they'll say, a power greater than me? What is that? What is a power greater than me? Are they talking about a ghost? Are they talking about, some big old muscle man that would beat me up? Are they talking about, infinity or the universe or God, right? A power greater than you, specific to you, okay? So if you guys remember when we read out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, when Ebby was talking to Bill at the very beginning, and he told Bill, you got to find your own conception of God, okay? You don't have to believe in my God. I don't have to believe in your God, but you need to find your own conception of God, okay? Whatever that may be. Some people believe in God as, like I was saying before, like nature or the universe. Some people believe that it's like a feeling. Some people believe that God is up in heaven sitting on a throne and he's a person. Some people believe that a higher power can be a group of people or the fellowship, right? And so when I first started working my steps with my sponsor, I was super duper like iffy about believing in anything God related, because when I got sober, I felt like God had abandoned me. Okay, so I was real skittish about that God idea, but I knew there was something out there that was watching over me, some power that I just didn't know how to explain what it was. So when I first started working with my sponsor, I put my faith and my belief in her, that she believed that I could get better, because I didn't believe it for myself. And then when that belief that she wasn't, I didn't feel like she was great enough, then I put my belief in the group, because I was going to meetings at the same home group every Friday. And I believed that all those people in there, all of those people together, they were stronger than I was. So I believed that they believed that I could return to sanity. So a power greater than yourself is exactly that. Whatever it is that's greater than you. It can be a group of people. It can be this chat right now. It can be, love. Love is a power greater than you. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Restore us to sanity. So when we're in our addiction, we are not in our right minds. We are insane in the membrane, okay? And what insanity is what? Okay, the way they talk about it in the steps is they say, or in the program they say, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So, the same thing, what we used to do, we would go out and get high. Hey, Nikki. And we would go out and get high, and then we would go to our job, and then we would get fired. And then we'd get hired at another job, go out and get high, go to our job, and get fired. And so we would keep repeating the same behavior over and over again, thinking, oh, this time it's going to be different. This time I won't lose my job. Or this time I'll get high and I'll be able to control it, right? Or this time I'll get high and I won't cheat on my man. Or this time I can drink and drive and I won't crash into that brick wall over there, right? The same thing over and over and over again, expecting something else to not happen, but it's always the same thing, right? And so we want to be restored to sanity too. We want to be restored out of that. We don't want to be making those same decisions, those same behaviors over and over again. So we want to become new and whole, right? We want to become like we were before our addiction. We want to be the Nicoles and the Tiaras and the Nickis and the Adams and the Harts. And we want to be us before we got high and loaded, right? Before drugs and alcohol ever took over our lives. Can you think about back before you ever got high? Do you remember, like, maybe you were 17, maybe you're 15, maybe you're 20, okay? Before you ever started drinking and using, all right? I can think back to before I started drinking and using, and I had such a passion for dancing. I mean, I could go out there, you guys, and I could shake it with the best of them, and I loved it. I loved to dance. I loved to do choreography. I loved to march in the marching band. I loved to play the piano. I could play by ear. I had a musical talent to play instruments by ear, and I lost all those passions when I started using it and drinking, so I want to be restored to sanity. I want to be restored to the Nicole before I ever started getting fucked up. Do you know what I'm saying? New again. Okay, so that's step 2. Y'all ready? All right. The moment they read step 2, most AA newcomers are confronted with a dilemma, sometimes a serious one. How often have we heard them cry out, "Look what you people have done to us. You have convinced us that we are alcoholics and that our lives are unmanageable. Having reduced us to a state of absolute helplessness, you now declare that none but a higher power can remove our obsession. Some of us won't believe in God. Others can't, and still others who do believe that God exists have no faith whatever He will perform this miracle. Yes, you got us over the barrel, all right, but where do we go from here?" Let's look first at the case of the one who says he won't believe. The belligerent one. He is in a state of mind which can be described only as savage. His whole philosophy of life in which he so gloried is threatened. It's bad enough, he thinks, to admit alcohol has him down for keeps. But now, still smarting from the admission, he is faced with something really impossible. How he does cherish the thought that man, risen so majestically from a single cell in the primordial ooze, is the spearhead of evolution, and therefore the only God that his universe knows. Must he renounce all this to save himself? At this juncture, his AA sponsor, 26 in the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions book. At this juncture, his AA sponsor usually laughs. This newcomer thinks is just about this last straw. So his sponsor's laughing at him, and he's like, oh, hell no. This is the beginning of the end. And so it is. The beginning of the end of his old life and the beginning of his emergence into a new one. His sponsor probably says, take it easy. The hoop you have to jump through is a lot wider than you think. At least I found it so. So did a friend of mine who was a one-time vice president of the American Atheist Society. But he got through with room to spare. Okay, so here's the tea, y'all. A lot of the times we're going to make this whole situation a lot more complicated than it has to be. We will overanalyze things so much that we'll take this one little word, G-O-D, and make it into something so much more than what it is. You know, your belief is your belief, but you just got to find something to believe in, all right? Like I said, the fellowship, the universe, nature, I mean, whatever it is, don't let G-O-D, good orderly direction, okay, stump you. Don't let that word keep you from finding recovery and getting the help that you need. Do you feel me? Okay. So did a friend of mine. Okay. Well, says the newcomer, I know you're telling me the truth. It's no doubt a fact that AA is full of people who once believed as I do. But just how, in these circumstances, does a fellow take it easy? That's what I want to know. That, agrees the sponsor, is a very good question indeed. I think I can tell you exactly how to relax. You won't have to work at it very hard either. Listen, if you will, to these 3 statements. First, Alcoholics Anonymous does not demand that you believe in anything. All of its 12 steps are but suggestions. Second, to get sober and to stay sober, you don't have to swallow all of step 2 right now. Looking back, I find that I took it piecemeal by myself. Third, all you really need is a truly open mind. So, the 3 undispensables of recovery: honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. You don't have to take step 2 all at once in one big gulp. You can gradually find that higher power and come to believe, okay? But the only thing that you got to do is believe that your sponsor believes, right? And have a little mustard seed of faith. That's all. That is all, you guys. Don't let that get you and you're like, oh, I can't work these steps because G-O-D, higher power, what are you talking about? I'm atheist or I'm agnostic or I'm a Satanist. Okay, what if you're a Satanist? Then let your higher power be Satan. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, don't let that stuff hick you up and keep you from moving forward. Do you feel what I'm putting down? Because I feel like it's almost like because we are addicts and alcoholics, we will make a big deal out of nothing. It's like this. Okay, so the 12 steps are so simple, but we will take them and complicate them so much because we have to make things difficult, right? I don't know what it is, but it's like I always do that. I was one of those people who, like I said, my sponsor had to tell me, if you're not feeling it and you feel like you can't talk to your higher power, then just believe that I believe, Nicole. Just believe that I believe. Okay? All right, here we go. Okay. Just resign from the debating society and quit bothering yourself with such deep questions as whether it was the hen or the egg that came first. So stop bothering yourself. Stop debating. Stop, being so analytical and just take it easy. Simple. Keep it simple. Again, I say, all you need is an open mind. The sponsor continues. Take, for example, my own case. I had scientific schooling. Naturally, I respected, venerated, even worshipped science. As a matter of fact, I still do, all except the worship part. Time after time, my instructor held up to me the basic principle of all scientific process. Search and research, again and again, always with an open mind. When I first looked at AA, my reaction was just like yours. This AA business, I thought, is totally unscientific. This I can't swallow. I simply won't consider such nonsense. Then I woke up. I had to admit that AA showed results, prodigious results. I saw that my attitude regarding these had been anything but scientific. It wasn't AA that had the closed mind. It was me. The minute I stopped arguing, I could begin to see and feel. Right there, step 2, gently and very gradually, begin to infiltrate my life. I can't say upon what occasion or upon what day I became to believe in a power greater than myself, but I certainly have that belief now. To acquire it, I had only to stop fighting and practice the rest of AA's program as enthusiastically as I could. This is only one man's opinion based on his own experience, of course. I must quickly assure you that AA's tread innumerable paths in their quest for faith. If you don't care for the one I've suggested, you'll be sure to discover the one that suits, if only you look and listen. Many a man like you has begun to solve the problem by the method of substitution. Hey, Controlla, what's up, girl? Come on over. You're welcome here anytime. You can, if you wish, make AA itself your higher power. Here's a very large group of people who have solved their alcohol problem. In this respect, they are certainly a power greater than you. So did you hear that, you guys? Did you hear that? Okay, here we go. All right, let's hear that again. You can, if you wish, make AA itself your higher power. Here's a very large group of people who have solved their alcohol problem. Okay? In this respect, they are certainly a power greater than you, who have not even come close to a solution. Surely you can have faith in them. Even this minimum of faith will be enough. That's all. Just a little itty bitty of faith. We can put, you guys, this group right here, this chat, there's 9 people in this chat right now. This chat can be the power greater than ourselves. Because all 9 of you guys, if y'all came up at me, y'all would overpower me. Y'all are powerful together. Y'all are more powerful than me together. Okay? So if I can believe that you guys believe that I can get sober and stay sober, right? Then that's what will happen. The faith, that's all, a mustard seed of faith. You will find many members who have crossed the threshold just this way. All of them will tell you that once across, their faith broadened and deepened. Oops, sorry, you guys. Relieved of the alcohol obsession, their lives unaccountably transformed. They came to believe in a higher power, and most of them began to talk of God. Okay, so I say alcohol a lot, and that's because we're reading out of the 12 and 12 of Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay, guys? But I'm an addict, okay? I'm an IV methamphetamine addict, IV opiate addict, IV cocaine, Xanax, alcohol, all of it. Okay, I'm an everything addict. All right, I can take food and get high off of it. Y'all know I love to eat. Anything that I can get addicted to, I'm going to get addicted to. It's just like my personality or something, you know? It's like part of that gene of addiction is in me, right? And so that's just how it is. But when I'm reading this and you hear me say alcohol, I want you guys to understand that if you're not an alcoholic and you don't drink and you've never had a problem with alcohol or anything like that, and you're a heroin addict or someone you know is a heroin addict or a methamphetamine addict, place your drug of choice. When you hear me say alcohol, put your drug of choice in that spot, because this program works on any part of your life. It doesn't matter if you're an alcoholic. It doesn't matter if you're a food addict, sex addict, gambling, drug addict. It doesn't matter. You can use the 12 steps in every part of your life. and it can help you to learn a new way to live in every situation. All right, here we go. Consider next the plight of those who once had faith but have lost it. So this is where I was at. I was someone who, before I got into my addiction, I was raised up real heavy in the church, you guys. I was Pentecostal, couldn't cut my hair, couldn't wear earrings, couldn't wear makeup, couldn't wear pants, had to wear dresses all the time. I mean, real strict. And I got saved in the church. I'm talking speaking in tongues, sleeping underneath the pew. It was a very religious, very religious. And I loved it. I loved growing up in the church. Those were some of the closest people. Like my aunts and uncles, they're not my aunts and uncles by blood, but they're my aunts and uncles because we were such close friends with them when we went to that church, you know. And I still talk to those people to this day. But I had faith for a long time. And then when I got into my addiction, I pushed down all those feelings and I blocked out that voice. Because here's the thing. We all have an inner voice, a conscience, okay? And when we get into our addiction, what we do is that voice is still saying, Nicole, this isn't a good idea. You know you don't need to get high. Or Michelle, I know you're not feeling good. I know your back hurts. But getting high isn't the answer, right? That's the voice that talks inside of us. Or Misty, relapse is not the way. I can't do this today. That's that inner dialogue that's talking inside of our minds, all right? And the farther we get into our addiction, the more we shove that voice down and we take more drugs and we take more alcohol and we shoot more dope and we snort more lines to block out that voice, okay? That conscious that we have, all right? That's that faith, okay? So, that's what happened to me. I pushed that voice down for so many years. Hey, Dalton, that voice where it used to be loud. Hey, Nicole, stop doing this. You're worthy. You're better than that. You don't deserve this. You don't need to get high. Your life is worth more than that. Then I got high. Nicole, you're worthy. You deserve better than that. Nicole, love yourself. Then I would get even more high. Nicole, you're worthy. You're better than that. Love yourself. And then I would get high again. Nicole, you're worthy. And then high again. Until you couldn't hear anything anymore. And it was totally gone. There was no voice there. I couldn't hear it anymore. And that's what happens the longer you stay in your addiction. The more that voice, you just block it out. And then you're left with, you're just sitting there. You're a shell of your former self. You're literally an egg with no yolk, no white inside of it. You're just empty. Okay, I'm going to start crying, so I need to move on. All right, there will be those who have drifted into difference, those filled with self-sufficiency who have cut themselves off, those who have become prejudiced against religion, and those who are downright defiant because God has failed to fulfill their demands. Can AA experience tell all these they may still find a faith that works? Sometimes AA comes harder to those who have lost or rejected faith than to those who never had faith at all. For they think they have tried faith and found it wanting. They have tried the way of faith and the way of no faith. Since both ways have proved bitterly disappointing, they have concluded there is no place whatsoever for them to go. The roadblocks of indifference, fancied self-sufficiency, prejudice, and defiance often prove more solid and formidable for these people than any erected by the unconvinced agnostic or even the militant atheist. Religion says that the existence of God can be proved. The agnostic says it can't be proved, and the atheist claims proof of the non-existence of God. Obviously, the dilemma of the wanderer from faith is that of profound confusion. He thinks himself lost to the comfort of any conviction at all. He cannot attain in even a small degree the assurance of the believer, the agnostic, or the atheist. He is the bewildered one. So you remember when you were a kid and you heard that saying that you are either going to be on fire or ice cold. You can't be lukewarm, because when you take lukewarm milk into your mouth, what do? Spit it out, right? You don't want that lukewarm. You don't want that middle of the ground. You don't want that, I don't know, right? And that's what we do when we're playing on either sides of the fence, right? So,
Mom.
What, baby?
Could I have something to eat?
Yes, baby. I'll be there in a second. Let me finish my
What
group.
do we have?
Hey, didn't we just have grilled cheese sandwiches? Okay, hold on, guys. I'm gonna grab him a little snack. Come on, Nate.
Why am I coming here so bad?
Did you go cuckoo? You want a banana? You want a bowl of cereal? You want some yogurt? You want some apple juice? Yogurt and you want an apple? You want orange? You want some raviolis? Take this upstairs. Sit right here and eat it. Because it'll spill. No, it's not. Here you go, kid. Ravioli. Okay. Eat it right there, baby. Okay. All right. I'm back. Okay, here we go. Let's move on. So, yeah. So that's what they're trying to say. They're saying that sometimes it's easier when a person just flat out doesn't believe, because then they don't have as hard or difficult as a problem of finding that faith, you know? Okay. So, this is a long chapter. We might have to pause. So, any number of AAs can say to the drifter, yes, we were diverted from our childhood faith. The overconfidence of youth was too much for us. Of course, we were glad that good home and religious training had given us certain values. We were still sure that we ought to be fairly honest, tolerant, and just that we ought to be ambitious and hardworking. We became convinced that such simple rules of fair play and decency would be enough. Okay, so I'm going to pause right there on number 29, and then I want to read the tradition with you guys, okay? So let's go to the tradition number 2, which is in the very back on page 133. Tradition 2, page 133, 12 and 12. Okay? So here we go. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. Where does AA get its direction? Who runs it? This, too, is a public puzzler for every friend and newcomer. When told that our society has no president having authority to govern it, no treasurer who can compel the payment of any dues, no board of directors who can cast an erring member into our darkness outer darkness, when indeed no AA can give another a directive and enforce obedience. Our friends gasp and exclaim, "This simply can't be. There must be an angle somewhere." These practical folk then read Tradition 2 and learn that the sole authority in AA is a loving God as he may express himself in the group conscience. They dubiously ask an experienced AA member if this really works. The member, sane to all appearances, immediately answers, "Yes, it definitely does." The friends mutter that this looks vague, nebulous, pretty naive to them. Then they commence to watch us with speculative eyes, pick up a fragment of AA history, and soon have the solid facts. What are these facts of AA life which brought us to this apparently impractical principle? John Doe, a good AA, moves, let us say, to Middletown, USA. Alone now, he reflects that he may not be able to stay sober, or even alive, unless he passes on to other alcoholics what was so freely given to him. He feels a spiritual and ethical compulsion because hundreds may be suffering within reach of his help. Then, too, he misses his home group. He needs other alcoholics as much as they need him. He visits preachers, doctors, editors, policemen, and bartenders, with the result that Middletown now has a group, and he is the founder. Being the founder, he is at first the boss. Who else could be? Very soon, though, his assumed authority to run everything begins to be shared with the first alcoholics he has helped. At this moment, the benign dictator becomes the chairman of a committee composed of his friends. These are the growing group's hierarchy of service. Self-appointed, of course, because there is no other way. In a matter of months, AA booms in Middletown. The founder and his friends channel spirituality to newcomers, hire halls, make hospital arrangements, and entreat their wives to brew gallons of coffee. Being on the human side, the founder and his friends may bask a little in glory. They say to one another, "Perhaps it would be a good idea if we continue to keep a firm hand on AA in this town. After all, we are experienced. Besides, look at all the good we've done. Look at all the good we've done for these drunks. They should be grateful." True founders and their friends are sometimes wiser.
I ate upstairs and I'm done, but it didn't really spill.
Okay, good. True founders and their friends are sometimes wiser and more humble than this, but more often at this stage they are not. Growing pains now beset the group. Panhandlers and panhandle. Lonely hearts pine. Problems descend like an avalanche. Still more important, murmurs are heard in the body politic, which swell into a loud cry. Do these old-timers think they can run this group forever? So this happens a lot, okay? So this is kind of like how it started with Real Talk Recovery. When we started out the group, I started, and I was the leader, right? But then as more people started to join on, more people started, like, helping me out, like the girls that are part of the Patreon, and then people that come on to share their stories, right? And it's like, you'll see. Let's keep reading. Let's have an election. The founder and his friends are hurt and depressed. They rush from crisis to crisis and from member to member, pleading, but it's no use. The revolution is on. The group conscious is about to take over. So the group conscious is the majority, the group, the thought of all the group, right? Now comes the election. If the founder and his friends have served well, they may, to their surprise, be reinstated for a time. If, however, they have heavily resisted the rising tide of democracy, they may be summarily beached. In either case, the group now has a so-called rotating committee, very sharply limited in its authority. In no sense whatever can its members govern or direct the group. They are servants. There is the sometimes thankless privilege of doing the group's chores. Headed by the chairman, they look after public relations and arrange meetings. Their treasurer, strictly accountable, takes money from the hat that is passed, banks it, pays the rent and other bills, and makes a regular report at business meetings. The secretary sees that literature is on the table, looks after the phone answering service, answers the mail, and sends out notices of meetings. Such are the simple services that enable the group to function. The committee gives no spiritual advice, judges no one's conduct, and issues no orders. Every one of them may be promptly eliminated at the next election if they try this. So if somebody comes on and they're trying to boss everybody and say, oh, well, so-and-so is not allowed at this meeting, like, that's not allowed, right? It's like you're strictly there to be of service, right? To give back what was so freely given to you. Okay, and so they make the belated discovery that they are really servants, not senators. See, there you go. These are universal experiences. Thus, throughout AA, does the group conscious decree the terms upon which its leaders shall serve. This brings us straight to the question, does AA have real leadership? Most emphatically, the answer is yes. Notwithstanding the apparent lack of it, let's turn again to the disposed founder and his friends. What becomes of them? As their grief and anxiety wear away, a subtle change begins. Ultimately, they divide into two classes, known in AA slang as elder statesmen and bleeding deacons. The elder statesman is the one who sees the wisdom of the group's decisions, who holds no resentment over his reduced status, whose judgment, fortified by considerable experience, is sound, and who's willing to sit quietly on the sidelines, patiently awaiting developments. The bleeding deacon is one who is just as surely convinced that the group cannot get along without him, who constantly connives for re-election to office, and who continues to be consumed with self-pity. A few hemorrhage so badly that, drained of all AA spirit and principle, they get drunk. Yes,
if
baby.
I make my own cereal.
Good boy. At times, the AA landscape seems to be littered with bleeding forms. Nearly every old-timer in our society has gone through this process in some degree. Happily, most of them survive and live to become elder statesmen. They become the real and permanent leadership of AA. Theirs is the quiet opinion, the sure knowledge, and the humble example that resolve a crisis. When sorely perplexed, the group inevitably turns to them for advice. They become the voice of the group conscience. In fact, these are the true voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. They do not drive by mandate, they lead by example. This is the experience which has led us to the conclusion that our group conscience, well advised by its elders, will be in the long run wiser than any single leader. When AA was only 3 years old, an event occurred demonstrating this principle. One of the first members of AA, entirely contrary to his own desires, was obliged to conform to group opinion. Here is the story in his words. One day, I was doing a 12-step job at a hospital in New York. The proprietor, Charlie, summoned me to his office. Bill, he said, I think it's a shame that you are financially so hard up. All around you, these drunks are getting well and making money, but you're giving this work full time and you're broke. It isn't fair. Charlie fished in his desk and came up with an old financial statement. Handing it to me, he continued, this shows the kind of money the hospital used to make back in the 1920s. Thousands of dollars a month. It should be doing just as well now, and it would if only you'd help me. So why don't you move your work in here? I'll give you an office, a decent drawing account, and a very healthy slice of the profits. 3 years ago, when my head doctor, Silkworth, began to tell me of the idea of helping drunks by spirituality, I thought it was crackpot stuff. But I've changed my mind. Someday, this bunch of ex-drunks of yours will fill Madison Square Garden, and I don't see why you should starve meanwhile. What I propose is perfectly ethical. You can become a lay therapist and more successful than anybody in the business. I was bowled over. There were a few twinges of conscience until I saw how really ethical Charlie's proposal was. There was nothing wrong whatsoever with becoming a lay therapist. I thought of Lois coming home exhausted from the department store each day, only to cook supper for a house full of drunks who weren't paying the board. So this is Bill Wilson that's telling this story. So 3 years after AA was created, Bill was literally bringing alcoholics out of the street into his home and having meetings. His wife would come home from, I think she like worked at some like Dillard's kind of, you know. She would come home 1:36. She would come home from the department store after working all day long, and her husband, Bill Wilson, would have all these drunk alcoholics in the building, and he'd be holding a meeting like we are right now. Okay, and these guys would be getting sober, and they'd get sober, and then they would pass it on to the next person and share their experience and say, this is how I got sober, come to these meetings with me. And they would all go over to Bill's house and pile into the house and share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, and they were getting sober and they were staying sober. Okay, I thought of the large sum of money still owing my Wall Street creditors. I thought of a few of my alcoholic friends who were making as much money as ever. Why shouldn't I do as well as they? Although I asked Charlie for a little time to consider it, my own mind was about made up. Racing back to Brooklyn on the subway, I had a seeming flash of divine guidance. It was only a single sentence, but most convincing. In fact, it came right out of the Bible. A voice kept saying to me, "The laborer is worthy of his hire." Arriving home, I found Lois cooking as usual, while 3 drunks looked hungrily on from the kitchen door. I drew her aside and told the glorious news. She looked interested, but not as excited as I thought she would be. It was meeting night. Although none of the alcoholics we boarded seemed to get sober, some others had. With their wives, they crowded into our downstairs parlor. At once, I burst into the story of my opportunity. Never shall I forget their impassive faces and the steady gaze they focused upon me. With waning enthusiasm, my tale trailed off to the end. There was a long silence. Almost timidly, one of my friends began to speak. "We know how hard up you are, Bill. It bothers us a lot. We've often wondered what we might do about it. But I think I speak for everyone here when I say that what you now propose bothers us an awful lot more." The speaker's voice grew more confident. "Don't you realize," he went on, "that you can never become a professional? As generous as Charlie has been to us, don't you see that we can't tie this thing up with his hospital or any other? You tell us that Charlie's proposal is ethical. Sure, it's ethical, but what we've got won't run on ethics.
I'm done with my
It has to be better." Good. "Sure, Charlie's idea is good, but it isn't good enough. This is a matter of life and death, Bill, and nothing but the very best will do." Challengingly, my friends looked at me as their spokesman continued. "Bill, haven't you often said right here in this meeting that sometimes the good is the enemy of the best? Well, this is plain case of it. You can't do this thing to us." So spoke the group conscious. The group was right and I was wrong. The voice on the subway was not the voice of God. Here was the true voice welling up out of my friends. I listened, and thank God I obeyed. So, basically, Charlie was trying to get Bill to sign on with him at the hospital. And basically what that would do was make the hospital kind of like in it with the AA. And so that would tie them to like a group, to the hospital, right? And AA is its own entity. It doesn't, connect on with a hospital, because then that hospital would have a say in everything that AA did. For our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. So thank God that Bill listened to all the drunks that were in that room that day that shared and said, please, we don't want to do this, and it's not a good idea, and of course, we don't want anybody to struggle and be out there not having, a job or not making ends meet. But I'm telling you, if you're doing the right thing, you guys, if you're staying sober and you're giving back and you're doing your service work, I promise you that your higher power is going to make a way and everything will end up working out. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I just get so excited when I do these like little meetings and stuff with you, and it makes me happy to be able to sit here and read with you guys and explain to you what I get out of the book, you know? I know, right? Hearts. So what I did, let's see where's that step 2. Oh shoot. So here's the tea. I'm going to finish up. Let's finish up. No, we'll finish up the step 2 reading next week, because I feel like, yeah, we've almost been on here for an hour. So I don't want to wear y'all out. Do you know what I'm saying? But came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. You know, and so basically what I want you guys to hear when we hear that step is keep it simple. You know, don't let the idea that you have to become an uber Christian or something to be restored to sanity, because that's not what it is.
Is 71% good enough?
It is.
71%.
I'm coming up there now,
My
Nate.
phone?
Yes, for your phone, it's good.
But I
This
don't know
boy.
how to turn it on.
I'm coming up there right now. You're gonna get in the bath too. Honestly, if we just have to keep it simple, you guys, and whatever you believe in, just take that and run with it. Like, just have faith. You know, if you're struggling with believing in a higher power, you know, just believe that this group of people here in this meeting believes that you can be restored to sanity. Because if I can, anybody can. You know, if I can come back from the dead, basically, and be restored to the person I am today, then anyone can get their life back. You know, anyone. I'm going to Michelle. And you guys, just so y'all know, y'all are his aunties. Y'all are Nate's aunties. I was talking to Michelle the other day on the phone, and all of the Real Talk Recovery girls are Nate's aunties. But I want you guys to remember, you know, if I can get sober and I can have my life back, you know, there was a time where I couldn't even, okay, let me say, I felt so terrible about myself. And I was so hurt and unhappy and sick in my addiction that I couldn't even look myself in the mirror. Every time I looked at myself, I hated myself. I wanted to hurt myself, you know?
Are we going to light our pumpkin again?
Yes.
I know how to do it.
Oh, hold your...
No.
Don't like that. Wait a second.
I swear I know.
Show me.
You do.
I'll help you. Hold on.
You might have ran out.
It's been a miracle for me, and every day that I can get up and I'm learning to love myself more and more every day, it's telling you guys, like, I just want you to know that there was a time where I didn't love myself. There was a time where I didn't feel good. There was a time where I couldn't keep a commitment, and I couldn't come on here and I couldn't do a video because I couldn't stay consistent, right? And this is all changed because of recovery, all right? One day at a time, you guys, little by little. Over the last 4 years, my life has gotten better, and I promise you that it can do, the same thing can happen for you. I promise you. If you will just trust me and believe, right? And do a little bit, just put in a little bit of effort.
Is my finger better?
Put in a little bit of effort. Just put in 5% of the effort that you put into when you were using. Okay? All right, buddy. Tell them good night.
Good night.
Tell them happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Weenie.
Ghost pumpkin.
All right, you guys. I love y'all. Tomorrow I probably won't be on, but Wednesday. So Wednesday I'm going to come on and I'm going to share with you guys a story, and it's very, very sad. And I want to tell you trigger warning because it's something that happened to me. It was way before Nate was ever even thought of, but I'm going to talk to you guys about some stuff that some of the girls know that this happened and that I did this when I was younger, but I want to share it because I know that there's a lot of other women that struggle with this. And so it'll be a story time, and I'll upload it on Wednesday. So I love you guys, and I hope you have a great night. We're going to go light our pumpkin up.
Yeah.
All right. You ready?